Musa was a proud billionaire, rich, confident, and never known to say no to a challenge. So when his friends dared him to marry a poor, overweight girl, he agreed without thinking twice. But he never expected the bet to take an unexpected turn and change his life forever. It was a warm evening in Lagos. Cars moved up and down the busy road. People walked fast, holding shopping bags or talking on their phones. Just across the street from a small, busy restaurant, 3 rich friends sat at their favorite bar. Their names were Stanley, Marcus, and Musa. These 3 were not just rich, they were very rich. In fact, they were billionaires. They wore shiny watches, expensive shoes, and drove big cars. But they didn't just enjoy money, they also loved to play games. Not normal games, but games with people's hearts. They often made silly and risky bets, even if someone could get hurt. Marcus, the most playful of them, laughed loudly and slapped the table. "You guys remember that secretary I slept with from church?" Stanley burst into laughter. "You mean the serious one that never even smiles during praise and worship?" "Yes." Marcus grinned. "Musa dared me to flirt with her. And guess what? I did more than flirt. I won the bet." They all laughed again and raised their glasses of wine. But just then, something caught Marcus's eye. Across the street, at the restaurant, stood a woman behind the food counter. She wore a plain red apron. Her clothes were simple. Her hair was tied back in a scarf. She was fat. In fact, very fat. But her face was calm and peaceful. She smiled kindly as she served food. That woman was Esther. She helped her aunt run the small restaurant. She didn't know anyone was watching her. She just focused on making sure every customer got good food with love. Marcus leaned in and whispered, "Guys, look at that woman." Stanley followed his gaze and frowned. "That's definitely not your kind of woman, Marcus." "I know," Marcus said, smiling. "But she's going to be Musa's kind now." He turned to Musa with a wicked grin. "I dare you, go and win her heart. Marry her. Stay married for just 6 months. If you do it, I'll pay for your wedding, your honeymoon, and I'll even give you my new Lamborghini." Stanley gasped. "You must be joking." "Musa, don't try it. Look at her. She's fat. She doesn't even look rich." Musa looked at Esther again. She didn't look like any woman he had ever dated. She was big, quiet, and didn't wear makeup. But something about her peaceful face made him curious. Suddenly, Musa stood up. "Wait, are you actually considering this bet?" Stanley asked in shock. Musa didn't say a word. He adjusted his shirt and walked straight across the road to the restaurant. Marcus and Stanley sat back, watching him in surprise. Inside the restaurant, the smell of fresh jollof rice and fried meat filled the air. Some people were chatting. Others waited quietly for their food. Esther stood behind the counter, serving a plate, when Musa walked in. Many customers turned to look at him. His perfume was strong. His shirt looked expensive. His shoes made soft sounds as he walked. He walked up to the counter and smiled. "Good evening." Esther looked up, surprised. "Good evening. What would you like to eat?" "Jollof rice and salad, please," Musa said, wearing his best smile, the kind that always worked on women. But Esther didn't smile back. She simply nodded. "Okay. Please wait. I'll serve you soon." Musa tried to start a conversation. "What's your name? This place is very neat and tidy." Esther looked at him calmly. "Thank you. My name is Esther. I'll be back with your food." And just like that, she walked away. Musa stood there, a little confused. Girls usually laughed, smiled, and asked for his number. But not Esther. And that made him even more interested. After leaving the restaurant that evening, Musa didn't go straight home. He sat in his car for a long time, looking at the small piece of paper in his hand. It was Esther's phone number. She didn't want to give it to him at first, but Musa kept begging until she finally agreed. Even then, she looked him in the eye and said calmly, "Please don't call me if you're going to waste my time." That one sentence made Musa smile. He had never met a woman like her. Most girls gave him their numbers before he even asked. Some even asked him first. But not Esther. She was different. The next day, Musa called her early in the morning. She didn't pick. He sent a message. "Good morning, Esther. Hope you slept well. I really enjoyed seeing you yesterday." No reply. He called again in the afternoon. Still no answer. In the evening, he tried one last time, and this time, she picked. Her voice was calm and soft. "Hello. It's me, Musa," he said happily. "Please, can we go out this weekend? Just lunch. Nothing serious." There was a long pause on the line. "I'm very busy," Esther said. "I have work to do." "It's just lunch," Musa replied. "Please. I promise I won't waste your time." She didn't say yes that day. But after many messages and phone calls, Esther finally agreed. On their first date, Musa took her to a high-class restaurant in Victoria Island. The tables had fresh flowers. The plates were shining. Soft music played in the background. Esther wore a long brown gown. She had tried her best. Her hair was packed neatly, and she wore the small gold earrings Musa had sent her as a gift. Even with her new clothes and the sweet perfume she used, Esther still felt nervous. She had never been to such a fancy place before. Musa stood up as she walked in and pulled out a chair for her. "You look beautiful, Esther," he said with a smile. "Thank you," she said quietly. They ordered food. Musa chose chicken and chips. Esther chose jollof rice and salad. While they waited, she looked around. Crystal glasses, white napkins, waiters in black suits. It was all too much. "Do you come here often?" she asked softly. "Yes," Musa said. "Almost every week." Esther gave a small smile. "It's lovely, but I'm not used to all this." Musa laughed lightly. "Then get used to it. From now on, this will be your new life." But inside her heart, something didn't feel right. Musa kept taking her to expensive places, boat rides, movie premieres, big salons. He even paid a driver to take her to work every day. He bought her shoes, perfume, and expensive handbags. Esther always said thank you, but she never got too excited. She was careful. Very careful. She wasn't used to this kind of life. And deep inside, she didn't trust it. In her heart, she kept asking herself, why is he doing all this? Is this real love, or just a game? Something didn't feel right. One evening, at another rich restaurant, Esther noticed something. Each time a curvy or well-dressed woman passed by their table, Musa would turn to look. Sometimes, he even smiled at them. Esther felt something heavy in her chest. She felt disrespected. She became quiet. She didn't laugh at his jokes. She picked her food slowly and didn't talk much. Musa noticed. "Esther, are you okay?" "I'm fine," she said quickly. But she wasn't. After the date, Musa drove her home. He was about to say something when she turned to him and spoke gently. "Musa, I need some space. I need time to think." Musa was shocked. No woman had ever said that to him before. As he watched her walk away, something strange happened to him. For the first time in his life, he was scared of losing someone. No woman had ever made him feel that way. And in that moment, Musa realized something. Esther was growing on him. He wanted her close, not just for the bet, but for something deeper, something he didn't fully understand yet. The next day, Musa met up with Marcus and Stanley at the bar. He told them what happened, how Esther asked for space. Marcus burst out laughing. "Wait, you mean she told you she needs space?" Stanley shook his head, laughing even harder. "Wow, I thought she'd be crazy about you by now." But Musa didn't laugh. He just sat there, quiet, staring at the drink in his hand. He didn't like how he was feeling. Marcus leaned closer. "Bro, don't give up. You're almost there." Stanley added, "In fact, I'll add 20 million naira to the reward," Marcus promised. "Just stay with it. Don't back out." But this time, Musa wasn't thinking about the money. He wasn't thinking about the bet. He was thinking about Esther, and how she had quietly started to change something in his heart. After that night, Esther didn't reply to Musa's messages for 2 whole days. She also didn't pick his calls. Musa kept checking his phone again and again, hoping to see a message from her. But nothing came. He had never felt this kind of silence before. Usually, when he dated women, they were the ones calling and texting him all the time. But now, the woman he really wanted was not even looking his way. It felt strange. And it hurt him. Esther sat alone in her small room above the restaurant. She looked at the new shoes and bags Musa had bought for her. They were shiny and very expensive. But her heart was not happy. She kept thinking about how Musa looked at other women when they were out together. The way his eyes followed their bodies made her feel small and not special. Esther had suffered a lot in life. She knew the kind of men who only said sweet things just to get what they wanted. She didn't want to be one of those women they used and left behind. She didn't want to be a joke. On the 3rd day, just before the restaurant closed for the night, Esther was cleaning the counter. Suddenly, someone walked in. It was Musa. But this time, he didn't wear shiny clothes or a gold watch. He wore a simple white polo and jeans. His face looked tired, like someone who hadn't slept well. Esther looked up and paused. "You're here," she said softly. "I am," Musa replied. "Can we talk, please?" She looked around. There were still a few customers. Her aunt was busy in the kitchen. Esther sighed. "All right. We can sit outside." They went outside and sat on a small bench beside the restaurant. It was quiet. For a moment, no one said anything. Then Musa spoke. "Esther, I'm not here to impress you. I'm not here to show off. I just want to talk." Esther stayed quiet. She listened. Musa continued, "I know I did some things that made you uncomfortable. And yes, maybe I looked at other girls. It's a bad habit, but I'm trying my best to stop." Esther turned and looked at him. "What do you want from me, Musa?" He looked into her eyes and said slowly, "I don't know how to say it, but I want to know you. I want to understand you. You're not like the others. You're different, and I like that." Esther looked at him for a long moment. Then she spoke, her voice calm but strong. "I don't want to be anybody's challenge or fun. I've seen men smile at me and hurt me later. If you're not serious, please don't waste my time." Musa's chest felt heavy. He nodded slowly. "I understand," he said quietly. "This is not a joke to me. I mean it. I truly do." Later that night, Esther got home and sat by her window. Suddenly, heavy rain began to fall. Thunder rolled in the sky. She hugged her pillow and watched the rain pour down. But her mind was far away. She kept thinking about Musa. His tired face. His voice. His words. And for the first time, she wondered if maybe he really meant what he said. She picked up her phone and opened his chat. She typed slowly, "I'm ready to date you. But let's take it slow, so we can understand each other better." She hit send. At that same time, Musa was lying on his couch, staring at the ceiling. His phone buzzed. He picked it up and saw the message from Esther. He sat up quickly. Then he smiled. A big, real smile. He typed back, "I'd like that. Let's take it one day at a time. Thank you, Esther." And for the first time in a long time, Musa felt true happiness. Not because he had money, but because he was slowly winning Esther's heart. After Esther sent that message, something changed between her and Musa. They started talking more, not about money or gifts, but about real life. Esther told Musa about her childhood, how she lost her parents when she was just 12 years old, and how her aunt took care of her. She shared how she learned to bake bread and cakes, and how hard it was to help run the small restaurant. Musa didn't talk much. He listened. Really listened. Not like before, when he always talked about himself. Then one day, Musa opened up too. He told Esther that even with all the money he had, he still felt very lonely. He said most people only smiled at him because of what he had, not because of who he truly was. For the first time, Musa and Esther were talking heart to heart. They were slowly getting to know each other, not as a rich man and a simple girl, but as two real people. Days passed. Then weeks. Musa stopped going to clubs with Marcus and Stanley. Instead, he started spending more time at the restaurant with Esther. Sometimes he would serve drinks to customers. People were surprised. Some took pictures quietly. Some whispered and pointed. "Is that not the billionaire guy? What's he doing here? Why is he carrying a tray?" But Musa didn't care. One afternoon, a little girl came to him and asked, "Are you Esther's husband?" Musa smiled and said gently, "Not yet." Esther heard it from behind the counter. She looked away shyly and smiled. Something was growing between them. But not everyone was happy. Far away, Marcus and Stanley were watching. They were no longer laughing. One evening, they called Musa to meet them at a private club. When he came, they sat him down. Marcus leaned forward. "Guy, this thing has gone on too long. You were only meant to marry her for 6 months. Collect the money, take the Lamborghini, and walk away." Stanley added, "But now, you're acting like you've fallen in love." Musa sat quietly for a moment. Then he looked at them and said softly, "Maybe I have." Marcus laughed, but it didn't sound funny. "Don't be foolish. She's just a fat girl from a poor background. This wasn't the plan." Musa stood up slowly. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. He said clearly, "Maybe it wasn't your plan, but now it's starting to feel like mine." Then he looked at both of them and added firmly, "And don't ever speak badly about Esther again." Without waiting for a reply, he turned and walked out, angry and disappointed. Musa got home and sat in his quiet room. He thought about everything. He knew the truth deep down in his heart. He started this whole thing as a silly bet. But now, it felt real. Esther had touched something in him. Something soft. Something true. He didn't just like her anymore. He genuinely cared about her. But there was a big problem. He had not told her the truth. She didn't know this all started as a bet. He wanted to tell her. He needed to tell her. But he was afraid. What if she walks away? What if she never forgives him? Musa's heart beat fast as he sat there in the dark. The next morning, Musa woke up early. He sat on the edge of his bed, thinking deeply. He decided not to say anything about the bet. To him, it didn't matter anymore. What mattered now was Esther. Weeks passed, and the bond between Musa and Esther became even stronger. They spent time together, laughed a lot, and shared secrets. Musa knew deep inside that he didn't want to lose her, not for anything in the world. One quiet evening, while they were walking by the beach, Musa stopped and knelt down on one knee. Esther gasped, "Musa, what are you doing?" Musa smiled gently, pulled out a small box, and opened it. Inside was a beautiful silver ring. "Esther," he said softly, "I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" Tears filled Esther's eyes. She covered her mouth with both hands. Then she nodded slowly. "Yes. Yes, Musa." Musa stood up and hugged her tightly. People around them clapped and cheered. By the next morning, their engagement was #1 trending news in Nigeria. It was everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, blogs, and even TV. Some people were happy. Some were shocked. A billionaire marrying a fat girl from a small restaurant. They couldn't believe it. But for Musa and Esther, it was real. Far away, Marcus was sitting in his living room, scrolling on his phone. Suddenly, he saw the headline. Billionaire Musa engaged to fat restaurant girl, wedding loading. His eyes widened. He dropped his phone in shock. No, this can't be, he whispered. He stood up and shouted. She was just a bet. How did it become real? Marcus felt like he was losing his best friend to a girl he believed didn't belong in their world. So he made a terrible choice. He decided to ruin everything. Marcus drove to the restaurant that same evening. Esther was behind the counter when he walked in. He didn't smile. He didn't greet her. He walked straight to her. Do you really think Musa loves you? He asked coldly. Esther was confused. What do you mean? Marcus folded his arms. You were a bet. A joke. A game. We dared him to marry you for 6 months so he could win a Lamborghini. Esther's face went pale. Her heart began to beat fast. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Marcus continued. I warned him to stop, but he didn't. He just kept going, planning to hurt you more. Then he said the words that broke her. You were never meant to be part of our world. And with that, he walked out. Esther didn't sleep that night. She cried and hugged her pillow. The next morning, she waited outside the restaurant for Musa. When he came, she called him aside. Musa, I want to ask you something, she said, her voice shaking. Please tell me the truth. Musa nodded slowly. Was I a bet? Musa froze. He said nothing for almost a full minute. Then he nodded. Yes, it started as a bet. Esther stepped back. Tears filled her eyes. But Musa tried to explain, what I feel now is real. Esther, please. But she didn't let him finish. She turned and ran away, crying. I can't believe you played with me, she shouted. You planned to marry me and leave after 6 months? You used me. Musa stood there, heartbroken. He called her that night. She didn't answer. He went to the restaurant. She refused to see him. Days passed. Then weeks. Still no reply. No message. No call. Esther had completely shut him out. Musa couldn't handle the pain. He stayed at home all day. He stopped going to work. He stopped answering calls. He missed important business meetings. And then, he started drinking. From morning till night, Musa drank hard alcohol. He didn't eat well. He didn't shave. His clothes were rough. His eyes looked tired. He didn't laugh. He didn't smile. He was slowly falling apart. One day, Stanley came to visit him. When he opened the door, he found Musa lying on the floor, holding a bottle. Musa, this is not you, Stanley said, almost crying. Later that day, Marcus also came. When he saw Musa like that, his heart broke. I caused this, Marcus said softly. I should never have told her. It's all my fault. The two friends looked at each other. Then Marcus said, we need to go and see Esther. We need to beg her. They rushed to the restaurant. Esther didn't want to see them. I don't want to see those people, she told her aunt. They've hurt me too much. But her aunt gently held her hand. My dear, she said softly, please, just listen to them. This may not only be about you anymore. Esther agreed. They came in. Marcus looked at her, full of regret. I'm sorry, Esther, he said. Musa is not okay. He hasn't gone to work in weeks. He drinks every day. His business is falling. His partners are angry. He's losing everything. Stanley added, he doesn't sleep. He doesn't eat. He just sits at home with bottles around him. We're scared we might lose him completely. Then Marcus said, we will not leave until you agree to see him. Esther looked at them. She didn't want to go. But something in their voices touched her heart. She nodded. They arrived at Moose's house. He was sitting on the sofa with a cup of alcohol in his hand. His face looked pale. His lips were dry. He looked up and saw her. "Esther," he whispered. He dropped the cup and ran to her. He hugged her tightly. Very tightly. Esther hugged him back. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I'm back," she said softly. "And I'll never leave your side again." Marcus and Stanley stood by the door, tears in their eyes. That moment, everyone knew. This was not a bet. This was not a joke. This was real love. 1 month later, they got married. It was the most beautiful wedding in Nigeria. In fact, it became the #1 trending wedding in Africa. People everywhere talked about it. The billionaire who fell in love with the woman he was never supposed to love.
Thanks for watching. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. More powerful and emotional stories are coming your way.